focus on the SAP Security Patch Day and the security notes, and how we from SAP actually work towards patching the security vulnerabilities which are reported to us, and what customers can do when these are released for customer consumption. So giving that quick introduction on the topic, we have with us Aditi Kulkarni, who works as a product security senior specialist in SAP Labs India. And in her role as part of the SAP product security response team, she collaborates with the external researchers, customers who report security vulnerabilities. And then we also work with the internal development teams to drive the patching of reported vulnerabilities. And specifically, she leads the topic of Security Patch Day, and is dedicated to ensuring the quality of the SAP security notes which are released to customers. So given that quick introduction, I would now hand it over to Aditi, who will take us through this session. Over to you, Aditi.
Thank you, Karthik, so much for the very nice introduction. Yes, so I will start sharing my screen. Let me know once you can see it. Can you see it?
Yes, Aditi.
Okay, great. Okay, so good afternoon, good evening from wherever you're joining. Thank you for joining. And as Karthik already introduced me, I work on the topic of SAP Security Patch Day. And today I will present about what the power of prevention is. That is, if we take sufficient precautions to ensure that, because we talk about precautions all the time now, right? So when it comes to patching our vulnerabilities, how much of awareness and prevention can actually prevent our systems from getting hacked, right? So we will go through the agenda topics very quickly. So what is the need for such a prevention? I'll explain how SAP addresses security, and how as customers you can help. And also I'll share some resources that will be useful for reference. So yeah, the need for prevention. As I said, we have been talking a lot about precautions ever since we started with COVID, right? So when it comes to cybersecurity, the trends show that like cybersecurity has been still a younger topic, because it's recent that we actually formally started to talk about cybersecurity. And initially it was all about script kiddies and just hacking for fun sort of a thing. But now it's becoming more and more sophisticated. Our threat actors are more sophisticated. So there is already a rising risk for in this aspect. And it's obvious that we have to secure ourselves from that. And one factor which is very attractive for threat actors is that the vulnerability is patched, the vulnerability is disclosed, but at the consumer's end, the vulnerability is not yet patched. That is, the vendor has provided you the fix and they have already publicly disclosed that they have fixed it, but at the consumer end it is still unpatched. They have still not consumed, or they're still not upgraded to the latest versions. So that is the most attractive point and the easiest point, because for such vulnerabilities it's possible to get exploits, readily available exploits. So that actually creates a bigger need for prevention, right? So and yeah, these are running already risks that we have. But in the last 1.5 years, we all know we have been all impacted by COVID, health wise, in many ways. But when it comes to patching operations, right? So we saw a sudden shift in how the workforce is, how employees are working. Just now, Mukesh was saying one of his colleagues who he was working with was working out of a bathroom, and that's the kind of situation we are in right now. And it does not just affect our day-to-day work; it impacts the operations. The priorities change for an enterprise. Like at this moment, what is important? It is important to address how employees are handling their work, how they are handling their mental health, and those kind of things. So temporarily, shift of focus from patching operations might be very heavily, we might have to pay very heavily if that happens. So yes, as of now, it is very important that that shift of focus does not impact us in terms of getting hacked, to be very straightforward, right? So yeah, with this quick introduction for why we need prevention, let me tell you how we at SAP address security. So we have many products, right? So all products undergo many assessment phases. So we have um, all phases starting from threat modeling, risk assessments, and code reviews happen on the code, and dynamic assessments. So all these assessment phases, all products undergo these assessment phases, and we do have security standards, which are based on industry standards and customized for SAP products also. So here we have how to ensure that a product is built secure by default. What are those little code related standards which, if if you follow them, then that any vulnerability might not even occur. So those kind of standards are already existing. So all product developers are expected to follow those standards. And let's say if there's any activity like code scan or dynamic assessment, and a certain bug is identified. So in order to fix those bugs, there is a strict SLA followed, and all teams are expected to follow those. So these are some of the ways in which SAP has already been addressing security since years together. So now coming to like the statement, I think if we ever hear anybody claiming that their software is 100% secure, they're just bluffing. It's not possible. It's, as a security expert, I can tell you it's not possible that any product, any software, any application is 100% secure. There's always a loophole. But a company's approach towards addressing those loopholes is what makes that company good, right? How do you address a certain vulnerability if it is identified? So in SAP, we have a team called Product Security Response Team. So I belong to that team. So in this team, what we do is we enable. So there are so many external, security researchers outside who have been working in the field of cybersecurity and out of interest, and they are all ethically working towards, helping different companies secure their software, right? So we enable responsible disclosure by them. We provide them an option to submit vulnerabilities to SAP, and once those vulnerabilities are submitted, we process them. We talk to our developers. We get them fixed if they are, valid submissions, and then all of this. Within a certain time limit, and we also would be releasing the fix. So what do the researchers get? They get acknowledged. It's sort of a thank you from SAP's end, And yeah, basically this kind of complete circle ensures that we have a very healthy and good relation with the security researchers who report vulnerabilities to us. We also have private bug bounty programs. So there are certain programs where some researchers can submit vulnerabilities and they even get awarded bounties. So yeah, this is how we maintain that collaboration with them. And any vulnerability that we process in SAP, so that is assigned a CVSS rating. So it is an industry standard. So this CVSS rating allows us to utilize certain vectors, like let's say an attacker is working remotely and he's able to exploit a vulnerability in an application without having logged in, and is able to impact the data confidentiality, is able to manipulate data, and is able to cause a server to shut down. So let's take all these as, break down these things as vectors, and if these vectors are calculated, then we get a score. So that is called CVSS score. So we use that in order to rate vulnerability severities. And in fact, these severities are very high, medium, and low. And based on the severity, we assign them SLAs in order to process and close the vulnerabilities and release the fix. So the entire process has a certain fixed time, and we follow these timelines very strictly. We have follow-ups and everything to ensure we are following it very strictly. So yeah, once the vulnerabilities are fixed, depending on whether there is a customer action required to apply the fix that we release, we do release security notes. So yes, I did talk about security researchers, but you can also see on the right hand side that when customers report, because security researchers, sure, but customers are actually using our products. So it is very much possible that you identify vulnerabilities in SAP products, right? So you can also report the vulnerabilities through the regular customer support incident. You can create a customer incident, and that gets channelized to our team again, and we will be driving your submission to closure. And in addition to that, we also have we have cloud solutions, right? So customers can request for authorized penetration tests on such SAP's cloud solutions. So that is also coordinated by the PSRT team. So yeah, this is how we deal with it. So I would like to go a little bit deeper into the security notes, because we are talking about patches in this presentation, more importantly. So SAP security notes are sorry, are basically our disclosure mechanism about the vulnerabilities that we have patched. And in the same security note, we will be providing information about the severity of the issue, how we will be providing the brief description about the vulnerability and what versions, what support packages are impacted, what is the action required from customers. So all of this is very properly maintained in the security notes. And just to let you know, this before releasing the note, it undergoes a lot of quality checks from our end. And only when we find that the note is now ready to be released, the patch is now in its best quality to be released, then we release the note to customers. So there are two classifications that we have in security notes. One is called patch day security notes, and the other one is called support package security notes. So for any vulnerability that is reported by external sources, sources external to SAP, like researchers or customers, so those fixes, if they are released in with security notes, they are released as patch day security notes, right? And let's say if SAP, inside SAP, there are some assessments performed and vulnerabilities are identified in some product. So if that vulnerability's severity is very high based on the CVSS rating, then that also gets released as a patch day security note, right? And now let's think about what is support package security note. So um, if the vulnerability is discovered within SAP by our own experts, if the severity is medium, low, or high, then the fix is released in the latest support package of that product. But then if there is any functional dependency on the patches, then we do release a note in the form of support package security notes, right? So with this very brief understanding of the classification, I would like to mention when we release the notes. It is on the second Tuesday of every month. So this is something which I would say mark your calendar sort of a thing. So every second Tuesday of the patch day of the month, is SAP's Security Patch Day, and we release all our Patch Day security notes on this day. Also SP security notes on this day, but for SP security notes, we do have another day, that is the fourth Tuesday. But yeah, we align most of the note release on the second Tuesday. And security notes actually can be accessed only by customers, that is users who have the S user ID. You need to have the license. So if you don't have an S user ID, let's say we are talking about someone who is not a customer, in that case we do disclose our patch day security notes publicly, because we want to maintain transparency about the type of vulnerabilities we have fixed. So in that case, we release CVE IDs, that is Common Vulnerability Enumeration. So these CVE IDs, they provide you a brief description about the vulnerability, the impacted product, the versions impacted, and all of those. So this is to maintain transparency about what kind of issues we have fixed. And in addition to that, we release a patch day blog every month on the patch day, where we are listing all the security notes that we have released. So yeah, this is about our public disclosure, and we collaborate with government cert organizations like USA's CISA and Germany's BSI for critical patches. So for critical patches, usually for the if we are fixing a very high severity vulnerability in the security note, in that case we will be releasing a hot news security note, right? So in that case, we inform these government certs, so that if they want to issue a cert of their own, in that case, they will be using the information we provide them. So this is how we are collaborating with the government certs. So on the right hand side, you can see a screenshot. I hope it's visible to you. So here you can see that this is our SAP's support portal. So I have provided all these links later on. You can go through it after you receive the presentation. But this is where we provide some information about security notes, where you can access the notes if you have any FAQs, and if you have any vulnerability to report, how to do that. So this is the screenshot of our SAP's support portal. So yeah, okay, now coming to how the trend has been, because it's very important to compare the past with the present. And when we compared 2019, the number of notes released in 2019 with 2020, the overall there has been, and there has always been a steady increase. If we take even months from years from the past, there has been a steady increase in the number of notes. But you you should find the one on the right hand side more interesting, because the number of hot news severity security notes has grown more than 100% compared to the last 2019 year, right? So this number, increase in number, is directly proportional, or rather I can say it corresponds to the increased awareness, as I was talking in the first slide about more sophisticated threat actors. In the same way, we also have more experts contributing now. There are more expert security researchers contributing, in the form of vulnerabilities. More customers have been assessing the products, and if they find out something, they have been submitting. We have fixed so many hot new security notes, and that itself is it shows that there is an increased awareness basically about security, software security in the entire industry. And awareness is good, but with that comes also the risk, because there can be similar number of threat actors too who are waiting to exploit unpatched systems. So after we release the security notes, if customers are not applying those patches, then there is a chance that someone might want to um, exploit such hot news severity issues, right? So what can customers do to help? Very basic things. It's sort of like the basics of how it works. So firstly, whenever after a security patch day, analyze the security notes that are released, so that you know which are relevant for your landscape, your application. So analyze those security notes. If you have any clarifications, because you might have questions about, okay, does this fix apply to me? If I do this, is it sufficient, or do I need to do more? So such questions should be clarified so that the right action is taken. For hot new severity notes, severity security notes, we have an FAQ attached to the note. So frequently asked questions. So check if these questions you have sorry, are already answered in that attachment. If yes, well and good. If not, feel free to open a customer incident so that your query gets moved to the right team, and someone can help you out in clarifying those questions. And yes, decide whether you will be applying the security note immediately, or you will be waiting to update to the latest version in a maintenance cycle. So this decision is important and should be taken by considering a lot of factors. So when we say like apply security notes immediately, it's very easy for us to say that, right? But when you actually have to do that, there is a lot of effort and time that goes behind it. So there can be both these methods followed. So how do you do that? Firstly, prioritize and apply immediately those that you find are important for your application. So from our side, from my side, what I can recommend is, since patch day security notes are for vulnerabilities reported by external sources, it means that there is also a high possibility of someone crafting an exploit for such vulnerabilities. So prioritize patch day security note implementation, and especially if the severity is hot news or high, because that severity is always reflecting the impact that it can have on the application, right? So prioritize and implement these immediately. And um, from SAP's end, how we are trying to make it easier for our customers is, if it's a hot news or a high severity security note, we wherever it is technically feasible, we provide a workaround. So these workarounds are like quick easy steps which you can make in your probably settings or configuration, so that you're not taking too much time to secure that immediately, for an example, I can take that there's a vulnerable component, and the workaround is that you take that vulnerable component off the internet facing, you stop facing that component to the internet, so that the you don't have a risk, at least as long as it's not facing the hackers, right? So this is just one example, but do look out for such workarounds. We provide them in security notes, especially hot news and high notes. And if you're not able to implement the patches immediately, at least apply these workarounds wherever they are applicable for you, basically. And yes, application of patches, but then as I mentioned, maintenance cycle is it's very important. Have a periodic maintenance cycle where the latest version or latest support package upgrades should happen, because as I mentioned in a previous slide, let's say you did apply the security notes. You applied all the security notes that we released, be it patch day or be it SP. But there are some vulnerabilities, let's say, which are found internally in SAP, which are fixed in these latest versions, right? Even those. So by default, you will be, securing yourself completely from all the available fixes, from all the available known vulnerabilities which have been fixed, right? So it's important that the patching strategy is a mix of both. It's balanced, so that because of other factors like there's a downtime sorry involved, there's implementation efforts involved, so those might impact certain decisions. But with the perfect balance of these two, that is implementing notes and having a scheduled maintenance upgrade cycle, this gets taken care of at a very good in a very good way, right? So yeah, the bottom line is having a patching strategy that fits your needs. So if I have mentioned those points, but every patching strategy should be customized in order to meet how your landscape is built. So yeah, these are some of the resources which I mentioned in previous slides, and also are good to have, good to be handy. So the first one is the link to the Launchpad. So this is where you will get all security notes. So you can sort it based on different, be it severities or when it was released. So you'll basically get all the list of security notes here. And I mentioned about the blog that we release every patch day. So that is the official product security response space. So here you will find the latest and all the blogs, all older blogs also, if you would like to refer to them. And whenever we have, some important notice to provide to the customers, for example, we fixed an important vulnerability and we believe that it will be publicized in some way, and we want to call for attention of the customers, then we do have something called Spotlight News. So it's part of the support portal page, which I shared a screenshot of earlier. So yeah, this is where we would be mentioning any news that we think is important to be informed to the customers. And SAP has security experts who provide the service of security optimization services, SOS. So as part of the service, there is an advisory released every month after the patch day, where every security note is analyzed in depth. And I would say this is a very helpful resource to have. I have provided the hyperlink, so do have a look. July patch day happened just day before, so probably the July patch day data is yet to be populated here. But yeah, just have a look and you will know why this is important. This advisory is important. Um, Yeah, so that kind of brings me to the end. So yeah, just to recap, we at SAP keep security of our customers at the highest priority, and we do all that is possible from our side to ensure all the STLs, secure lifecycle processes are followed internally. We perform our assessments. The reported vulnerabilities are fixed in a fixed time. All of that is followed. But from the other side, from the customer side, we would also request that whatever patches are released, please do apply them timely so that you are safeguarding the application. And yeah, the way to have that is having a patching strategy and implementing the security notes. Yeah, that's kind of what I would close with. Just to let you know, there is an article with the same title, "The Power of Prevention," in the recent edition of SAP Insider magazine. So it has basically what I covered in the presentation, but you can, if you're interested, you can have a look through it if you would like to read anything in detail. And yeah, just provided a link here if you are interested. That's all from my side, and I guess I'm good to open for questions now. Thank you. I think there. Okay, so the enterprise. Okay, so I think we have questions, and okay, Karthik already answered one, right?
Yes,
Yeah,
Aditya.
maybe you can elaborate a little bit on that.
Yeah, sure. So SAP threat detection, it's an actually a tool. So you might have heard tools like Splunk, and also we have tools from IBM as well, uh, which we call them a CM tool, which is an event monitoring tool. So what they do is it will continuously look for some events happening in the landscape, and then if there is an anomaly which is detected, which is based on patterns, then it will trigger them as issues which need to be looked into. So in similar lines, SAP also has a tool which is what been mentioned here, which is SAP Enterprise Threat Detection, which is also does the same thing, and very tightly integrated, or we could say that for the SAP landscape, it is having the right patterns to match and find out these anomaly detections, and throw them as some of the issues which need to be looked into. So that's what this tool is all about. That's the enterprise threat detection. We call this an event monitoring tool. So I hope that clarifies um, the question on
Karthik
that
and
ETD.
Karthik
Yes,
and Aditya, this
yes,
is Amit here.
yes, Amit.
I'm from Gurgaon, from Centriant Pharmaceutical. I just
Yep.
wanted to ask you because now I have more and more tools. Yeah, I have Ariba, I mean, lot of SAP applications. Ariba, SuccessFactors, C4C, SAP, CC is always there.
Mhm.
But I don't see a roadmap where I can actually see the the enterprise-wide threat detection and the cross-application authorization and risks, because same person could be working in different applications. So what
Yeah,
is your roadmap to cover that?
I think we took this in one of our previous sessions, where we also have some cloud-based tools, just like how we have GRC for on-premise access control, which looks into the access management part of it for on-premise applications. We also have a tool in line with this, which is running on cloud, which we call the identity and access governance tool. That has an integration to the cloud-based solutions. So these two solutions work together to make sure that we are able to address the access specific, authorization specific topic which we have for both on-premise as well as the cloud-based solutions of SAP. I hope that answers your question.
Yeah,
So,
if you can find the link,
Yeah.
if you can find the link for that recording and put it on the chat, that will be great as well.
Yes, sure.
Yeah.
I'll look for that in YouTube. 1 second.
Any other questions for either Aditi or Karthik or myself? Sudhir. We have two Sudhirs here, Rajesh, Mayank, Madan Mohan, Jai Shankar. Any questions? Charles. Hi, Charles.
Nothing from my side.
Okay, thank you.
Just let's say a knowledge question from my side, and I don't know this. So when I go to the, let's say, support portal launchpad and I see all the notes. So are they covering all the systems like Ariba, C4C, IDP, etc.? All the
Yeah,
related.
right.
Okay.
So how it works is, so
Can you
if
show
the
the screen if you have if you can
okay,
log
let
in and show it?
me, yes, let me, actually, I think I have limited share right now, so I'll open it and then I'll increase the scope of my share. Yeah, so just to answer the question, if there is any action required by the customers to apply the patches, in that case, we release security notes. But then if we are talking about cloud, so with cloud, it is SAP's teams, SAP's, let's say, operation teams who make sure that the cloud is already secured, even if it's related to a vulnerability that is what we are patching. It is already part of the cloud release. So in that case, there is no action required for customers to apply those patches. They just use
No,
those
Aditi, I think
services.
I have received the emails from this team that go and update your HANA 2.0, go and do something
Right.
in your browsers, go and do upgrade your Chrome versions, etc. So I think they also give
Yeah.
us actions.
Yes. So in that case, yes, if there was an action from your end to upgrade, then yes, you would have a security note for it. Let me, okay, I would like to share my
But
screen
my
once
question
again.
was,
Mhm.
if you want to inform something on these products to customers, do you also include that in the, so
Yes.
do I have a central location to access all these nodes or not? That's what was my
Yes.
question.
Yes, so this, I hope now the
Yeah, I
screen
can see.
is, yes, right? So this is the central place where you can access all security notes. Like this is where exhaustive list, I can say. So this is where you can access, and if you have any specific search term that you want to find, like, okay, you mentioned HANA, right? So if I just type HANA, I think it's searching, yes. So first it'll show all the results, and if I want to see any specific type, so I'll just select SAP Security Note. So because we do have knowledge base articles and all that, but if you want to specifically look for only security notes, you can just filter it out. And yeah, as you mentioned here, you can see there was one
Perfectly.
released this year also, yes.
Yeah, I got the answer that everything is included here. Go there and check, and you will find all the notes related to all the systems, right? BW, ECC
Yes.
doesn't matter. Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, thanks.
Another important thing also is specifically with the cloud products that SAP has in terms of security, how SAP is maintaining the security for the cloud solutions. You can go to the SAP Trust Center. I just put the link on the chat. Let me just quickly share my screen. So can you see my screen?
Yes, yes.
Yeah.
So if you go to that link,
they publish the issues, etc. they encounter and how they solve it, right?
yeah. So this is a single point of contact for all SAP cloud solutions.
Yeah.
The Trust Center. So it will have information about service status in terms of whether there is any downtime, whether there is any issues in terms of availability. Then there is security around for all topics around security. If you actually look at it, there is also security issue management, which is how do you report a security issue, just like what Aditi spoke about, right? But this is specifically around cloud solutions. And then there is everything around privacy, as to what is the data protection policy that SAP has, compliance related topics, operations in terms of cloud operations, as to a lot of information. So everything related to any SAP solution which is offered as a public cloud can be found here. So all the different data centers that are available, how SAP operates these data center, what are some of the certifications that SAP has, how and all of that, security measures at the data centers, at all levels, right? So all of this information you can find on the Trust Centers. All the cloud solutions, the agreements that you sign with, for all the agreements are available here as well. So this is a good place to visit once in maybe a month or so. So some of these things actually, I think we've discussed this in the past as well. One of the things that is very, very important for all SAP customers to do is to have a rhythm in terms of checking the security notes, checking any vulnerabilities and all of that. So it can be every month, it can be every 2 months, depending upon how comfortable you are, or even once in a quarter. There is a list of, you create a checklist, do check the security note, apply patches, whatever needs to be done. And you just follow those checklists once in a month or once in a quarter. You assign it to a particular person whose responsibility it is to make sure that they go do all those 5, 6, 7 steps and report back saying that everything is okay. So for example, with the INDUS leadership team, we are also governed by the laws of the land, right? So we have an agency to whom we have given a certain checklist. So it is their imperative to go and do all those steps once in a quarter and give a certificate saying that an email saying that we have done all these steps, all of them are okay. So that we know, okay, till last quarter everything is perfect. And so that how often you do this is up to each organization to decide, but please do this. Any other questions for Aditi or Karthik? So I think Karthik has already shared the video that he spoke about, which is the access governance solution that SAP has. So have a look at that. And at any point in time, I'm assuming that all of you are part of the WhatsApp group already. Are you? Is there anyone here who's not part of the WhatsApp group?
Please add me.
Sorry?
Yeah. You can add me if you want. I can share my number to you.
No, so I'll just put the link on the group on the chat. I think it is best if you directly join the.
Sure.
I think can you put it on, because I'm running out of charge on my phone. So if you go to WhatsApp and you go to the group,
it will be there in the WhatsApp web, right? To the group. Okay.
No, even in the group it should be there. 1 second. Let me find that out. Okay, I think I'll be able to put it up as well, maybe. So I've put it on the chat. If you are not part of the group, please do join the group. So just click on that link, you can join. Or copy paste it and then join. If there are no further questions, maybe Karthik, you can close the session as well.
Sure, Mukesh. Yeah, so if there are no further questions, yeah, I think we are good. Thanks so much, Aditi, that session had an insightful information on how exactly we address security when it is being reported by either the external researchers or from the customers. And we have clearly driven the point that the customers should also make it a point that they should have some patching strategy, which should be around the patch day when we release these notes as well. So thanks so much for that session. And if there are no further questions, I think we are also good to close the call, and we will meet up again with one more session, which we'll plan and execute for the coming month of August. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone.